Where's the real trick? Because I know it's around here somewhere. Oh wait, that's right. I don't give a crap. And we're going to talk about the Cointelpro instead. Alright, I dug up some more info. Let's get right into it. The Cointelpro / gang stalking. Remember, we're moving away from this word, gang stalking. That's been contrived up to divert us and others from the truth and evidence of what's going on in your life. The harassment, the abuse. That's all the Cointelpro. They don't want us talking about that. They don't want us talking about politics in layman's terms. And talking about the heart of the matter. They don't want that, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Here on Voice, the Cointelpro / gang stalking channel. Now, one thing the Cointelpro would do on a small level was start rumors amongst group leaders. So certain groups wouldn't work together. They do this on an individual level as well as with corporations, political groups, basically anyone who exercises the First Amendment. If you're pushing for freedom, they will corner TIs and they'll target individual groups like these and pin them against each other. Like Jews, Catholics, black people. See, now once they want you to focus on one of these groups. See, that's why it's all designed the way it is. Like, you can't put your finger on one thing. And you see a lot of targets start to focus on one area rather than the whole big picture. Or the Cointelpro is never even discussed. Well, it's set up this way so that it diverts you from the Cointelpro, and so that it never does get brought up, and we're not playing that game anymore. That game's over, because we just don't play it anymore. So, they pin certain groups against each other. So, you see, they do this on a large scale and a small scale. So, these groups, they start fighting each other because the middleman has been invincible the whole time. So they think that each other is the enemy, when really they're arguing the same point and they're fighting for the same reasons. So once you start, isolating, once they have you isolated on one of these groups and focused on one of these angles of the whole program, then all the other groups stop listening to you and your ideas. And everybody remains separate rather than coming together to make one group. See, it's all about creating divides. Cointelpro equals divides amongst humanity. Pigs on the wing. All right. Now, some time ago, 45, 50 years ago, I guess 45-ish years ago, activists broke into the FBI, the Cointelpro field office, the FBI field office, the counterintelligence program. That's what we're talking about, the Cointelpro, the counterintelligence program. The program was used to infiltrate and take down political parties, groups like the Panthers, the Black Panthers, Social Workers Party, the Women's Movement. Operations were not shut down. All right, they were absolutely not shut down, but really just criticized for violating rights. We're still facing this exact same infiltration that came about, and the same war that was waged on Martin Luther King. It's all the same organization. We are being treated and painted as terrorists. And just like the groups, okay? Occupy Wall Street, Black Lives Matter. These are... and targeted individuals, you know? These are among the current groups today that the Cointelpro is attempting to silence. And what's so funny is they'll say these protests, they'll even say that they're peaceful. Oh, they're peaceful protests, but we're just waiting in the wings and surveillancing them and putting in plans in case of any terrorist activity. Well, that doesn't make any sense at all. So how do they infiltrate these organizations? They'll put in, like for our organization, they'll put in a fake targeted individual so they report back, and you'll think this person is a peaceful individual. You get them into a protest, all of a sudden they are ranting and raving and trying to maybe cause a riot. Or they're just reporting back the whole time. All your information, everything. So, moving on. I like this quote by Malcolm X I heard today. He said, "What did the man do to make you as dumb as you are right now?" Yeah, I thought that was good. Okay. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's kind of a long quote here, but I think it's important. He said, "Today I want to say to the people of America and the world, we aren't about to turn around. We are on the move now. Yes, we are on the move, and no wave of racism can stop us. The bombing of our homes will not sway us. The beating and killing of our young people will not divert us. The wage and release of their known murderers will not discourage us. We are on the move now." So it's so, you know, Cointelpro, we've gotten into that, the ins and outs of that, and MLK, and it's just... it's so obvious when you look back with the information that we have today. And see, these gentlemen, they knew that they were being stalked. They knew, but they didn't have all the information, clearly. And you know, if they only knew. So... here's another quote by Fred Hampton, all right, of the Black Panthers. "We have to defend ourselves. We intend to defend ourselves. We did so in the past, and we're going to do it again today and the day after. Because only through the proper self-defense and the proper example of retaliation, by letting these people know that we are moving from some basic laws, that anything that goes down on the oppressed people, on the oppressor's end, it should be retaliated and reciprocated. It takes two to tango. And as soon as these motherfuckers make a move, we're gonna go." Now, you guys, he isn't talking about violence, all right? Quote, "The proper self-defense and retaliation must be displayed." This is exactly what we've been talking about, all right? Fred Hampton was 20 years old when the Cointelpro had him murdered. Well, they had the police murder him and his wife and his unborn baby. So, yeah, they were about democracy and, quote, power to the people. But the media, they portray them as, like, something white people should fear, when that's just not what they stood for at all. So it looked like, you know, we should fear them, and white people specifically, and that it should just wasn't at all the kind of thinking. The media is absolutely to blame for that. The Cointel. It's all just a huge smear campaign. So the same thing today. So once you successfully take a group like the Panthers and paint them as bad and a threat, then whatever is done after that is generally considered okay, right? This is how they get the people behind them. And this is how they take these organizations out and make their abuse okay and acceptable. So, of course, no one's going to get behind someone causing, you know, pain and grief to a person like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or JFK. So they have to create, you know, a whole street theater scene to fool the public into believing it was a single person job. Why? In order to further the New World Order plot, they have to maintain the status quo. Okay? What's the status quo? White people on top, black people on the bottom. We're gonna fix this, you guys. I promise. Thank God for the church committee. All right? So, what's going on in the country? Well, speaking of the church committee and the investigations in the 1970s and the outing of the Cointelpro, what else was going on in the country while this investigation was happening? I mean, this was huge news, right? My God, the FBI making prisoners and terrorists out of innocent civilians, right? This is huge. Everyone's going to want to know about this. Nope. Why? Watergate. Watergate was going on at the same time. You know, no one... You see that the crimes of the Cointelpro were so great that such a distraction. This is a perfect example of the media's abuse of power. The perfect example, because the impact on our nation would have been so great that it just... And so now when you ask people today, nobody's ever heard about the church committee and the investigations and the Cointelpro. Nobody's even heard of it, right? But everyone, they've all heard of Watergate, of course. They've all heard of Nixon. So, and that's exactly what you would need if you were going to distract an entire nation. This has worked so well. No one has ever even heard of the church committee, the Cointelpro investigations. That holds all of the evidence to support our claims. Because, you know, you think of the 70s, you think of Nixon. And it's designed that way. You're supposed to. So, yeah, and they even made a movie about it, of course. Watergate, you know. They love making movies out of their little false flags and crap so they can write history the way that they want it and write in a bunch of lies with it, also while conditioning and brainwashing you into participating in their twisted, perverted, distorted culture and way of thinking, or not thinking altogether. So Cointelpro has absolutely never stopped. They've only gotten better and more powerful through technology and corrupt politicians who work for psychotic globalists that worship Satan and make very few attempts to even hide that they worship Satan. So please educate yourselves on this Cointelpro and this program as a whole that we call gang stalking. That's just a little tiny piece of it, you guys. Welcome new subscribers. I think we're up to about 60 now. It looks like. Very exciting. Welcome everybody. So great to have you guys here. We have such a great community here. A lot to offer you. Please feel free to comment and share, and you could reach out to me as well at voicegangstocking15@gmail.com. Always here for you guys. All right. Take care. Good night.